with you, but I mean, I understand some of your approach. I mean, sometimes we take a hard bite. It helps us as politicians.
Nowadays, when I listen to you, I even panic.
Why?
Maybe, hey,
Why do you panic?
the way you, Papa, you know Papa.
Figuratively, he bites as hard as he can.
Okay.
And of course, when he puts his fangs into you, you certainly feel it. I think it pretty
Watch Johnny's bite.
Bismillahir Rahman Rahim. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. Hasbunallah wa ni'mal wakil. The Lord is my light and my salvation. Whom shall I fear? And yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for you art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of my enemies. You anoint my head with oil, my cup runneth over. And surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life. And I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever and ever. Amen. Assalamu alaikum. It's Wednesday. Welcome to Johnny's Bite. It's raining in parts of Accra, and I'm sure in other parts of the country as well. You want to be careful out there as the children head to school. Find them protective clothing that will keep them warm. And if you have to drop your children off at school yourself, please make sure that you drop them off at school or get somebody you trust to do that on your behalf, because kroma ihu. And this morning, I want to say thank you to Grandpa Clothing for my outfit. But also this morning, I want to ask a very, very simple question. And the simple question is from the very depth of my heart. The simple question is based on a historical perspective that I have. The simple question is based on the happening events around us. The simple question is based on the rights and freedoms of people. The simple question is based on what is true and what the facts are. The simple question I want to ask this morning is, why is it so difficult to demonstrate and protest under a serial demonstrator and a so-called human rights lawyer, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo? Why? I've said that this question I'm asking is based on the past, the present, and what bad precedents we are setting now to go into the future. The question I'm asking today is based on the facts and the truth available to us all around us. And I'm asking a very simple question. Why is it so difficult to demonstrate or protest under the watch or under the leadership of a so-called human rights lawyer and a serial demonstrator, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo? Why? Let the records reflect that since Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo became president of the Republic, nobody has had the opportunity to get close to the Jubilee House to present a petition to the presidency. The worst case scenario or the best scenario is when they send my own Ga brother, Deputy Chief of Staff, to go and meet people at the Independence Square or Black Star Square to receive their petition. That's the best case scenario. One would have thought that in the Fourth Republic, one would have thought that this president would have been our best ever, who had touted his human rights credentials right from infancy. And so anybody else would think that this president will do completely different because he promised to bring change. Today, people cannot protest, and when they dare protest, their rights are curtailed. But we know what the law says. The law says you are not guilty until proven guilty by a court. You are innocent until you are proven guilty by a court of competent jurisdiction. He knows it. His Attorney General knows it. In 2015, put it up, September 2015, the man under whose tenure or in whose tenure nobody can demonstrate freely. And this is another version of the culture of silence. But now we're using systems to let people shut up. Nana Addo tweeted and said, brute force by the police against unarmed citizens exercising their constitutional rights should be a thing of the past. At the time, he was asking for a new voters register now. As we speak, 73 days to the big election of 2024, we do not have a register. Yet the government and its assigns are majoring in minors. brute force by the police against unarmed citizens exercising their constitutional rights should be a thing of the past. This was Nanado, 5:14 p.m., 17th of September 2015, when he was desperately looking for power after Ghanaians had rejected him for 3 times already. This was what he wrote. This was what Nanado Dankwa Akufo-Addo wrote on his Twitter page. Brute force by the police against unarmed citizens exercising their constitutional rights should be a thing of the past. Hashtag new voters register now. This was what Nanado wrote. Call him to the center now and ask him, does he still believe this? He's around, traveling around the world, making flowery speeches, big speeches, and taking honorary doctorate awards. And at 6:26 this morning, is he aware? Is he aware what is happening in his backyard? There's another tweet by Nanado. Pull it up for me. And that will be the crux of a conversation for this morning. The people who went out on the streets say that Galamsey is a bad thing. Stop it, stamp it, enforce the law, crack the whip, bring the perpetrators to book. Nanado again on the 10th of September 2016, 3:37 p.m. He says, I want a Ghana where every citizen has access to potable water. Hashtag MPP Solutions Manifesto. Today we are talking about bold solutions, right? Baumia means business, right? The word solutions, every Nanado so, Keja Nanado yino. I want a Ghana where every citizen has access to potable water. This was what Nanado believed in 2016. Today, people are on the streets asking for the same potable water. And the police would arrest them and keep them away from their family and their friends, whether they be pregnant or they be diabetic or hypertensive or whether they have glaucoma or whatever underlying conditions they have. Nanado and his people and the police, they do not care. The only time the family and friends will see them is when they are arraigned before court. And you ask yourself, why? We are not in a military rule. In a military rule, when these things happen, Nanado Dankwa Akufo-Addo spoke about it. He said, when it comes to the Constitution, we know that what we are saying is right. Today he has power. And he's doing the nya of the most nya. Ahumaswokrasi, dwekrasi, enumdrakrasi, minimkrasi, nana yenkamasem. One would have thought that for a president who had put his presidency on the line, or who said he was prepared to put his presidency on the line to fight Galamsey, when now we are told that over 50% of the water that is harvested is not good for us to consume and drink. Where we are told that children are being born with defects. Where we are told by Ghana Water Company that if we don't take care, we'll be importing water. Where big rivers like the Tano and Pra and Ankobra and many other rivers are not drinkable. Where our vegetation and forest cover has been depleted. Where forest reserves have been mined into. A president who said, I have put my presidency on the line. I'm prepared to put my presidency on the line. And I remember when I said that, the man is not serious about what he was talking. Some of my colleagues said, no, he's serious. Today we know that he was not serious. He was just saying something to represent something. One would have thought that somebody who made all these claims in the past, given the present and current circumstances, would have been the first to even join the protesters on the street to say, let's stop Galamsey together. But no, his assigns are busy. Listen to Nanado. Listen to him.
I guess Galamsey, I'm saying, never be a car. Say, Auntie, say, Juma. Maybe can say, former Ghana for A2 Sikano. May Baby Tremu. If just a see to scale more Ghana, and yet that nanum, in the chance to see to Sika. Me said Sika, 1 year Baby to Sika, ye Tiamra, and no, and a mempress, Baby Kosovo. illegal mining. That is what I'm against. I babe haye. I ne tebi. Chema ahinkro. A brim. I am a ball. And number one I two sika wu.
92.7.
Densu brim ni nyina say. Yentumi nkoso sa. Mining along the water bodies cannot continue if we want to preserve the nature and our system. Cannot continue. But this say Galamsey for no say pass me babe dimra no so won so a na election I be MPP for who become
92.
but they hear me say me de Nyankopon aka kire me say e hia say me babe ye anu na hear me na me babe ye nsese a ebe bo ma no nkoso anu na hear me nya election asem de nsese a betumi aye ama omanu enya nkoso ye na no jasasi mai. This
was the president in 2017. He was talking about the 2020 elections and the fact that he doesn't care if the Galamseyers think that they will not vote for him. He will not be threatened by their decision not to vote for him because he's going to stamp Galamsey. This was him. Today, he is more interested in breaking the eight. And breaking the eight is no longer MPP. He's now NDC. Now he's leading the one. Or what is it? Today, he's more interested in handing over to the next MPP president. He's not interested in fighting Galamsey. Now, let's get the record straight. Galamsey is illegal. But Galamsey predates the Fourth Republic. Galamsey, it predates Jerry Rawlings, it predates Kufuor, it predates Mills, Mahama, and Akufo-Addo himself. It predates all of them. Galamsey has always been here. But the kind of Galamsey that is happening now and the extent and the reach and spread that is happening now is what we are complaining about. In the past, the Galamseyers used to go into the abandoned mines. They went deep into the earth. Today, you have people who are on the river, in the heart of the river, on the banks, digging away, cutting cocoa trees and misbehaving. They are known party people. That's where the commitment begins. Read the Professor Kwabena report, Boating. You read Protozwa in Suhum. You read, Ewusi. You read about Charles Bisu. They have all gotten a clean bill of health to go into parliament. Now it's so brazen that people who are engaged in Galamsey record themselves and dare the president that you come and stop us. Because you have not created jobs and we see your own party people engaged in Galamsey. So stop them before you come and stop us. What Nanado said then and what he is supervising now, they are two different things. What he said then and what he said now, they're two different things. It is, and we must tell Nanado, instead of massaging his ego and getting my brother Salam and others to go and that's stupidity of always having a counter vibe to what is the truth is what puts me off. There are those who have run away from this country. They live in systems in the UK, in Canada, US, elsewhere, where systems work, where nobody will dare dig Galamsey, and they will record video and tell us that we are complaining too much. And then there are those who have been overfed, who are here, who are part of the rubbish and the rot that is happening, the hogwash that is happening. As Godzilla, the Zanzibar king on TikTok will say, the hogwash that is happening. They will come onto the streets and come and counter what it's as if they don't do. They are the people who import water into this country. They are the people whose children do not live here with us. In 1995, when Nanado led the Kumepreku demonstration against VAT, value-added tax, which has now become a main revenue line for our country, it was not a matter of life and death like we have now. Galamsey is a matter of life and death. The Akufo-Addo cocoa drink that we see on the Ankobra, on the Pra, on all the rivers, it's Akufo-Addo cocoa drink. The Akufo-Addo cocoa drink that we see, and the children learn this. The Akufo-Addo cocoa drink. The Galamsey water is called Akufo-Addo cocoa drink. Akufo-Addo cocoa drink. Akufo-Addo cocoa drink. The Galamsey water. That's what it's called. That we see today. We didn't have that in 1995. Yet Nana came out and demonstrated. Look, watch him. Look at him. Look at him.
That's right. The problem is that we haven't.
The policies that the government has been implementing are policies that do not find favor with the general mass of our people, and that the mass of the people of this country have been systematically impoverished during the period of Rawlings's rule. It is not a point of view that has found very much favor in the parts of the world from where you come from, who have been pouring out an endless stream of how so many things wonderful were going on in Ghana. The policies that the government has been implementing are policies that do not find favor with the general mass of our people, and that the mass of the people of this country have been systematically impoverished during the period of Rawlings's rule.
The policies of the government is not favorable to the masses of the people. 1995, the VAT was stopped, and they had to think through it on a national scale after this national demonstration for it to be re-implemented in 1998. Who was arrested? People died at Komipreku. For those of you who don't know, people died through Komipreku demonstration that was led by Nana Addo. Who was arrested? Today, people are arrested, including pregnant. Find me the videos. People are arrested, and their family and friends cannot see them. And Daily Guide and other pro-MPP newspapers will put a slant and say that, 39 NDC people have been arrested. At least there's only NDC people who are interested in fighting Galamsey. So why the government does not want to fight Galamsey anymore? I've said it here and I'll say it again. When Engineer Ken Ashikbe was leading us to fight, to do our Galamsey fight, we were moving a coconut grove. We didn't have this mess going on. We were fighting our fight. Government says, we will join you to fight. This is what we have now. Listen to this one. They arrest you. Your family and friends do not get to see you. Then a relative of yours comes to see you and they are mentioning your name. And then the police, a senior policeman says, shut up. No, the first video, I'm a governor's video. Play that.
Over 48 hours. Y'all should be proud. Shut up. These people are ridiculous.
Did you hear the shut up? It reminds me of COP Alex Mensah, party police, Kokonsa police, Superintendent JB and Superintendent Asari. A parliament, where are you with the Kokonsa police report? And we have elements like this, a senior policeman like that, asking a relative who has not seen the family for 48 hours and more after the person was picked up, now seeing the person for the first time when the person is going to be arraigned before court, and he's calling out to my daughter, Amma, I says, shut up. A senior policeman says, shut up. Watch again. Watch again. There are people who are not protesters. People who just got down, if you see the address, they just got down to take photos and the police picked them up. Culture of silence. What, do you think that when you do this, it will prevent other young people from going onto the street? No. We have seen the example led by Nana Addo, Komipreku. I've showed you the video. If you think you are men enough, go and fight Trafigura who are taking your property in the UK and they are now in South Africa chasing and taking Ghana's property and assets. Don't be a local champion here.
So it's 10 people in this group.
Don't be a local champion. Go and fight Trafigura. Go and fight Alistair Matthias of Gold Mafia fame. Go and file Al Jazeera. Stop intimidating critical voices. In 1995, when Nanado and his cohort stepped onto the street for Kome Preku, people died, I'm telling you. About 5 people or so, they died. There was a man who had just defrosted himself from the eyes of a military rule and gotten into democratic rule for the first term, 1992 to 1996. Jerry Rawlings was in power. Nobody was arrested. The Attorney General at the time, Obeda Samoa, he did not take anybody to court. The Attorney General we have now is a member of Nanado's cabinet. He's the lawyer of the state. The police says he is the one prosecuting people for asking questions about Galamsey. So Nanado is punishing people for speaking up and asking about Galamsey, and he has instructed the police people to keep you beyond 48 hours and not let you see your family and friends.
Okay, so it's 10 people in this group.
And then when you speak up, there's a policeman there who will tell you to shut up, shut up. I told you about party people. Listen.
Over 48 hours. Amma. Over 48 hours. Y'all should be proud. Amma.
Shut up.
These people are ridiculous.
Policeman says, shut up, shut up. He has been told what he has been told. So he's telling a senior policeman is telling somebody who has not seen a family and friend under a democratic, so-called human rights lawyer, a so-called serial protester who protested about everything. In 1995, when Nanado was protesting the Kome Preku demonstration and he was out there, he was talking about the cost of living. These people are not talking about the cost of living. He was talking about the cost of rent. These people are not talking about the cost of rent. He was talking about all the things that we are already facing. Even at the time, nobody had given anybody a haircut, like Michael Blanton is now complaining all over Twitter. What we are talking about is the quality of water that we are going to be drinking and the danger of not having water to drink at all. And the best we can do as a country. And these optics do not look good. So this coming November, when the world meets to talk about climate change, will we attend? In November, when the world meets to talk about climate change, will we shamefully send a delegation? I'm asking you, in November, when the world meets, that, these are countries where they are countries that are respectable, countries that are decent enough to talk about climate change. When the world meets, will we send a delegation? Would Nanado lead a delegation there? Will Abu Jinapo join? Will Mreku Duka join? Would they join? Would they join? Our forest reserves have all been mined into. At the time when we were all fooled to believe that there's a ban on small-scale mining in this country. People who are doing legitimate mining in this country, we stopped all of them from mining, and then we gave our cronies and friends licenses to go into forest reserves to go and mine. Read the Frimpong-Boateng report. Read the Frimpong-Boateng. We are busy declassifying forests. There's a letter, Oliver Bakavoma's letter. Pull it up for me. His lawyer is asking that he be given medical attention. 24 September 2024. This is to the Commander, Greater Accra Regional Command, Ghana Police Service, Tudu Accra. Dear Mr. Ahin Kwesi Ano, DCOP, Oliver Mausi Bakavomao requests for urgent medical care. It says, I will be grateful if you could promptly procure professional medical care for Mr. Oliver Mausi Bakavomao, who turned himself into your custody at 2:46 p.m. yesterday, September 23, 2024. This request derives from the recommendation from a preliminary medical examination which was conducted on Mr. Bakavomao after he was taken seriously ill earlier this evening. Additionally, we find it necessary to bring the following to your attention. That the police care, medical care, was not extended to Mr. Bakavomao, and B, that the private medical care which was procured for him had to wait at the police station entrance for hours to be allowed access to him. Thank you, Justice Shremsai. Is the lawyer, notary public also. He has master's, PhD, everything, law. The police did not give him medical attention. His family, friends, and lawyers also got a doctor to attend to him, and they refused it. And Nanado. There's a gentleman who was talking about his sister who is diabetic, has BP, and has glaucoma. Let's listen. He has BP. He has glaucoma.
You don't care about their welfare.
But have you seen your sister? Have you been able to see
I
your
saw
sister?
her, but I've been able to speaking to her.
But I thought they called you earlier to say she's not feeling well.
Just this morning, I received a call, and the person mentioned his name as Inspector Ken, and that he was speaking from the National Police Headquarters. He told me that my sister wasn't fine, and so we should come to check up on her as a family. I got to the National Police Headquarters gate, and I was denied access to her.
Why?
I called the number for several times. The number is here. I checked mobile money. The name came Kennedy Gengbe or something. We called for several times. There was this policewoman at the gate. The name was Japan. I spoke to her. I told her that, look, I just received a call from this number that my sister, who is diabetic and asthmatic and is battling glaucoma, is here. I am told she is not fine. We want to check up on her. The woman took the number. She also called for several times, but that number didn't answer until I heard that they were being brought to court. I went to the Kaneshi police station, and the station officer told me that specific instructions had been given that they should not be granted access to any family member, not even a lawyer. I made them aware that my sister is diabetic. I made them aware that she is asthmatic. I told them that she has glaucoma. And so she would need her drugs. They said no.
Was she the one you said was just doing TikTok live and was picked up by the police?
And at the time she was arrested, she was live on TikTok. So she was just streaming the proceedings of the protest on her social media handle. And then she is being treated as if she was some sort of criminal or someone who committed any heinous crime in this country. I am myself a journalist. I have covered several reports on Galamsey. Let me say that prior to the launch of the media coalition against Galamsey, we were holding meetings at the Coconut Group Hotel 2 weeks on every Wednesday with Mr. Kenneth Ashibi. At the time, Mustafa Hamid was the information minister. He was always present at our meetings. In fact, on the actual day when we launched the media coalition against Galamsey, they used some of my pictures and videos that I had taken from Chebi, from Dunkanofin and other areas. We are all aware. Recently, I was at UCC when the chemistry department mentioned that they are finding heavy metals in our food and our water bodies. Isn't President Akufo-Addo saying the police service, don't they consume the same food we buy from the market? Why? What on earth would you treat someone, a mere protester, as if she were a hardened criminal? Why?
So from the time she has been arrested till now, you have no access, you've no contact, no form of communication.
Apart from me seeing her behind bars at Kaneshi, we were not allowed to speak to her.
Does she have her drugs on for her asthmatic, diabetes
or not? How would I get to know? Because they've not allowed us to speak to her. How would I know? So when the police arrest someone, they don't allow anybody to have access to the person.
But the police officer that called you said she wasn't feeling well, or what?
Yes. That was what he told me this afternoon. And I am very surprised. But see, as a family, we have nothing to say. If our sister dies today, we have sacrificed her for the betterment of all of us. At least, sometimes it should take some committed members of the country to fight against illegality and to fight for the entire liberation of us all.
Chilling account right there. And that's the reality on the ground. Nobody will divert anybody's attention from the reality on the ground. Nobody. Today, Nanado will be presenting a speech at the UN, human rights activist Tampa. He will be painting a very nice picture of Ghana. Meanwhile, there's fire on the mountain in his backyard. After failing to fight Galamsey and aiding people to engage in Galamsey, he is going out there to speak. And I'm asking, in November when the world meets to talk about climate change, will we be there? Will we send a representation? Will we be wasting the taxpayers' money to go and have such meetings? Will we be there? Today, he will be making a speech as if he has no shame. Look at the nonsense that is happening at the background. As for the courts, they are there. If you don't take anybody there to want to go and prosecute, the courts will not prosecute them. If the Attorney General presents them before the court will have to do his work. So the courts have not done anything. Ask your Attorney General a question. Ask your police the questions. Good morning. Please call me 055-924-2717 and 055-691-0154. Good morning.
Good morning.
Yes, sir. Collins.
Yeah, Yes, sir.
Amomole, talk to me.